Hello and welcome to Math 252. This is the first lesson on a series of lessons that we are going to have on linear programming. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to form linear inequalities. We shall be learning the simple ways of forming linear inequalities. Before we start on how we can form linear inequalities, there are certain tips that I thought it is important to note before we start the actual formation of the inequalities, and therefore we need to note some inequality signs and operations and what basically they mean, so that at least if you see them in a given statement, you should be able to translate that one into inequality signs. So these are the points or the tips that we need to understand that will make the basis of the topic. The first tip is the statement which is less than. Less than is represented as shown in front of the statement, that is, this is called less than. For example, we can have 3 is less than 5. 3 is less than 5. So the number 3 is less than 5, and this is how we can use now that less than statement as an inequality. Point number 2 is less than or equal to. Less than or equal to is also represented in this form. It is less than with a sign, or with a sign, or maybe a subtraction sign below that inequality sign which is less. So it is said to be less than or equal to. For example, we can use as an example that 6 is less than or equal to 8. So suppose if 6 were an unknown, then let's say 6 was x. We can say x is less than or equal to 8, and it therefore means that 6 is strictly either less than or it is equal to 8. Point number 3 that we also need is greater than. Greater than is also another inequality that we shall be using, and it is represented as this, that is greater than. For example, we can have 6 is greater than 5. 6 is greater than 5. The number 6 is greater than 5. This is how it should be represented. Point number 4, we have greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to, and it is also represented as the sign greater and then that small sign below the sign, which also we call now in this case it is greater than or equal to. For example, we can have 7 is greater than or equal to 5. So 7 is either greater than 5 or it can be equal to 5. We can use maybe in place of 7 we can substitute with an unknown letter. Let's say y is greater than or equal to 5. We shall see how maybe those one can be used in the real situations. You have the point number 5 that you also need to understand what it means is the word at least. At least inequality means greater than or equal to. So if you are told that x is at least, let's say the salary of someone is at least 5,000, meaning that the salary is either 5 or it is greater than 5,000. So at least means greater than or equal to. We also have the word at most. At most inequality means less than or equal to. At most 5 means 5 or less. So it is less than or equal to. We have also number 7 again, that is not more than. Not more than is the same at most. At most, not more than, and less than or equal to have the same meaning. So all of them, they mean less than or equal to. 8, we have not less than. So not less than, at least, greater than or equal to, they mean the same. They mean not less than means greater than or equal to 5. Let's say we have 5. Maybe then x is not less than 5. That means that x is greater than 5 or it is equal to 5. So it means greater than or equal. So the last number that we need to understand is the word in excess of. So in excess of means greater than. So in excess of is the same as greater than. So they mean the same. In excess of, if you see that one in maybe inequalities, it therefore means that a certain statement represents, now in excess of represents that this value is greater than, of course, the other number given. Note that the sign always points to the smaller value. So the inequality sign will always be pointing towards the smaller value. For example, we have 7 is greater than or equal to 5. So the sign faces the smaller number, which is 5. Or we can have 3 is less than 5, which in this case we need to see now that the inequality sign is facing towards the smaller number, that is 3. So the sign always have to point towards the smaller value. See now how we can form the simple linear inequalities, formation of linear inequalities, how we can form linear inequalities from, of course, a given problems or given statements. Let's see examples. Example number 1, we have Yona is 5 years younger than his sister. The sum of their ages is less than 36 years. If Yona's age is x years, form all the inequalities in x for this situation. So we have the age of two person here, that Yona is 5 younger than his sister, and the sum of their ages is less than 36 years. If Yona's age is x years, form all the inequalities in x for this situation. Let's see now the solutions, how we can solve. So we are told that Yona's age is x years. That means Yona's age is equal to x years. So it is Yona's age is given here, that it is x years old. He is x years old. Then Yona is 5 years younger than his sister. It means that the sister is 5 years older than Yona, and therefore the sister's age can also be represented as the age of Yona plus the difference between their ages, that is 5 years. So it is x plus 5 years. So Yona is x years and his sister is x plus 5 years old. Then if you go back again and read the statement, you have the sum of their ages is less than 36 years. That means the age of Yona, which is x, plus the age of the sister, which is x plus 5, if we add together, that age must be less than 36 years. So that one we can form an equality here, and it is the sum of their ages, that is x, which is the age of Yona, plus the age of the sister, x plus 5, is strictly less than 36 years old. Then we can add the like terms together, that is x plus x becomes 2x plus 5, and then that one is also less than 36 years. We can take 5 on the other side, or we can subtract 5 from both sides. Subtracting 5 from both sides will give you, we are just simplifying, it will give you 2x is less than 31. 5 minus 36 is 31. Then we can simplify by dividing 2 both sides, and therefore we shall have x is less than 15.5, which is the first inequality. So x we have gotten is less than 15.5. Then we also have to note that even though, since we are dealing with ages, then an age of a person cannot be 0 and it cannot be less than 0. So we have obvious inequalities, and therefore x becomes greater than 0. In this case, this is called an obvious inequality because age is always positive. Age cannot be negative, neither can it be 0. So therefore, since Yona is x years, then the age of Yona must be greater than 0. So then this is also the second inequality, that is x is greater than 0. So that is how, or these are the two inequalities that can be formed from this simple statement. Then we can have example number 2. We have the perimeter of a rectangle whose length is x centimeter and width is y centimeter is not more than 10 centimeter. Form all the inequalities connecting x and y. So we have the perimeter of a given rectangle is not more than 10 years. Sorry, it's not more than 10 centimeter. we have the dimensions of the rectangle, that is the length is x centimeter and the width is y centimeter. So we can say length is equal to x centimeter, that is given. Width is also given to be equal to y centimeter, and then you are told that the perimeter, the sum of the perimeter of the rectangle is not more than 10 centimeters. So not more than, we said, represent is less than or equal. So the perimeter is either 10 or it is less than 10. Then another important thing that we need to note, that since just like age, dimensions or the length of a given solid or a given figure can also not be negative. It cannot be negative, and it should also be greater than 0, and therefore we can also form two obvious inequalities involving x and y. The first one, we can say that since x is a dimension, then x must be greater than 0. So the length must be greater than 0. That is the first inequality. The second inequality is y must also be greater than 0. The reason why we are saying these two are greater than 0 is that dimensions cannot also be negative. Dimensions must always be positive, and therefore they cannot also be 0. So x and y, both of them must be greater. They must be greater than 0. Then the third inequality that we can form is the perimeter of the rectangle is not more than 10 centimeters. So perimeter of a rectangle is given by 2 into length plus width. The perimeter of a rectangle is always given into 2 into length plus width, and then we can substitute length to be equal to x and y to be equal to w. So perimeter is equal to 2 into x plus y, and that must be strictly less than 10 or equal to 10 centimeter, because we are told that the perimeter is not more than 10 centimeter. That is either less than or equal to 10 centimeter. Then we can open the bracket by multiplying 2 times x, that is 2x, 2 times y, 2y is less than or equal to 10 centimeter. That is 2x plus 2y is less than or equal to 10 centimeter. Then we can simplify by dividing 2 both sides, or maybe throughout the equation 2 goes here once, 2 goes here 1, and 2 goes here 5 times. That is x plus y is less than or equal to 5. That is the third inequality that we can form from this statement given. So these are the three inequalities, that is x greater than 0, y is greater than 0, and x plus y, which is the sum, which is the perimeter of the rectangle, is less than. Example number 3 5. Is Stephen's salary is twice as much as his wife. The wife's salary is in excess of 4,000. The sum of their monthly salary is not more than shilling 16,000. If the wife's salary is shilling B, form all the inequalities in B to represent the information. So here we have a salary of 2 people, that is a man and his wife, and the salary of the man is twice as old as his wife. The wife's salary is in excess of shilling 4,000. In excess, we said it represents more than. So the sum of their monthly salary is not more than 16,000. Not more than, we said, is less than or equal to. If the wife's salary is shilling B, form all the inequalities in B to represent the information. Solution. Now, if the wife's salary is B, that is the first equation, we know that the wife's salary is B. So if the wife's salary is shilling B, and here you are told the Stephen's salary is twice as much as his wife. So if the wife is B, then his salary is twice of that of the wife, and therefore Steve's salary becomes 2B. So the wife is B, and Stephen's salary becomes 2B, that is 2 times the salary of the wife. Then you are told the wife's salary is in excess of shilling 4,000. That in excess, we said, is more than. Therefore, if the wife's salary is B, B is therefore greater than 4,000. That is the first inequality. The first inequality is the wife's salary is in excess of 4,000, and the wife's salary, we said, is shilling B. Therefore, B becomes greater than 4,000. Then the second inequality that you can form is that the sum of their monthly salaries is not more than 16,000. So the sum of their salaries becomes B plus 2B. So B plus 2B is less than or equal to 16,000. That is the second inequality. That is the sum of their salaries is B plus 2B. That is not more than. Not more than, we said, is referred to as maybe as less than or equal. So not more than means not is less than or equal to. Therefore, B plus 2B is less than or equal to 16,000. Then we add and we get 3B is less than or equal to 16,000. So that is how we can form inequalities in this question. So these are the only two inequalities that can be represented or that can be formed from this statement given. So this is the end of our lesson today. We shall be having a series of videos in this topic, at least 3 lessons. Then until we meet for the next lesson, I wish you all